Commence primary ignition.
Welcome. Good to see everyone. Kind of a sold out show again, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah, that's great. I want to thank you all for coming to this screening of Empire Strikes Back. This is going to be amazing. We're going to do a little podcast here right at the very beginning. A little about myself again. My name is Bud Weeks, and I tattoo over at 4-Star Tattoo, right over by Whole Foods there. And a little clapping for that, please. Yeah. No, that's it. All right, good. So yeah, and this podcast really, I've been doing it for about 2 years now, and I've really talked to the most amazing people. I've actually been able to talk with people who were actually involved in the production of Star Wars. So this is amazing for me to introduce these two people. These two folks worked on the original, Empire Strikes Back, guys. They worked on Empire Strikes Back. They were assistant sound editors. Yes, would like an applause. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring out Joanna Lovetti and Ken Fischer. Hey! Hi, guys. Yeah, for sure. Feel free. How are you?
Do we have to use this?
Yeah, if you could. Yeah, make sure they work there, will you?
We're sound people. We should know how to use
Sennheiser, that's pretty good, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
It's the real thing.
Yeah. I want to thank you guys for coming and doing this. I guess we'll just kind of start with, how did you guys get involved with Lucasfilm?
Well, I'll start.
This is Joanna, everyone.
Hi, guys. This is so cool. Y'all look so beautiful. Ken and I were just saying backstage that a lot of you probably weren't even born when we were making Empire Strikes Back 45 years ago, right?
1980.
Yeah,
right.
We started, I started on it before Ken. We both worked in sound editing for the great Ben Burt. And
Ben Burt.
Yeah.
We should round of applause for Ben, even though he's not here.
Yay, Ben.
That revolutionized sound editing and sound effects, right?
Yeah, sound designing
sound
was
design,
his sort of nom de plume. So yeah, I was in a completely different field. It was the 70s, and we were activists in the streets, fighting the Vietnam War, women's lib, civil rights, all of that kind of stuff. And I wanted to get into making movies, and the only film company around in Marin County, north of San Francisco, was Lucasfilm. So I just started asking around. Anybody know anybody that works there? And I found somebody that did, and I got an interview. And they said, we're not really hiring right now. This was in 78.
Wow.
And I had a teaching job at the time, and I just kept calling. And 5 months later, I got hired to be a bookkeeper for George Lucas. And while I was doing that, inventory started coming in on toys, and I got to meet Ben Burt.
Wow. Cool.
And I said, I groveled. Ben, will you teach me how to do this? And his father turned out to be a professor of mine at Syracuse University. And so we hit it off, and I started recording with Ben, and that's how I got in.
Wow, cool. And Ken, how do you shoehorn yourself into this thing? How do we do that?
Yeah, exactly. I wish there was a formula that I could tell people how to do it.
Right.
I had actually, a couple years before Empire, I was working on this movie Apocalypse Now.
Oh.
And was working.
Just a little.
Just a little
bit.
Yeah. It's about this Vietnam War thing. And I was working on the picture editing side as an assistant on that. And that was kind of the way I got into that particular film was I basically showed up at the studio when they were just starting editing, and they needed somebody to move some film boxes from one floor to the next. Did that for 2 days, and 2 years later finished working on the film.
Wow.
But the Bay Area, so Francis Coppola and George Lucas, neither one of them wanted to be part of the Hollywood system, so they moved to the Bay Area. It's a very small community. So after I was done with Apocalypse Now, I knew that as Joanna said, the only other gig in town was Lucasfilm. And I showed up there and got hired as an assistant sound editor.
Wow. Now, can I ask, like, what kind of role does that, what are you working with, like, and how are you editing things? And is there certain scenes that kind of you remember when you watch the movie, you're like, I worked on that, I did this, I did that kind of thing?
Well, it didn't quite work that way when you're a sound assistant back then.
Okay.
You guys ever heard of a moviola? Okay.
Mm.
Okay, cool. We were on film, and all the tracks were on magnetic film that ran through the moviola. And so as sound assistants, we worked for the sound editors. And the
Okay.
sound editors, the way Ben kind of worked it all out, all had different jobs. There was a dialogue editor, sound effects editor. Everybody had
Okay.
different jobs, music editor. And the sound effects were all broken up into robots and
Ah.
landscapes and atmospheres. So
Lightsabers? Yeah.
there was a
Yes.
lightsaber. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cool.
So it was more like by kind of the way that Ben broke the movie down. I was a dialogue assistant, and
I was also.
yeah, we were both
Wow.
dialogue assistants.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's got to be so amazing to be a part of something right at the inception. I mean, this is like right after the big hit of Star Wars,
That's right.
and he basically got flooded with some money because he
Yeah.
kept all the rights to that and just pumped that into production. I think Empire is probably my favorite Star Wars movie by far. I mean,
It's
it has
the best.
yeah.
I agree.
I mean, it has everything, it ends with an emotional climax. Instead of like a big physical climax, we have this emotional, what Luke is going through. I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone, but there's a lot there emotionally that he has to deal with. But yeah, so it's such an amazing film. What was like, I mean, what's George like? What's
You take this one, Joanna.
Well, when I first met George, it was really kind of a cute little story. I can tell pretty
Yeah, I'd
quickly.
love to hear it.
Yeah. So like I said, I had been working as a teacher. I was a special ed teacher, so I was working with special ed kids and emotionally disturbed people. I was also working with Vietnam vets. And so I had nothing on my resume that resembled what I was asking to do. And the lady that interviewed me, George's assistant, brought me in, and she really liked me because she pre-interviewed me. And she said, George, this is Joanna. And she doesn't have any experience in the movie business, but she has worked with mentally ill people. And George said, well, I think we should hire her because she's probably got the best experience here. So that was my
That's
introduction
great.
to George when I first met him.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like working around him? I mean, did you see him a lot around Lucasfilm? and
Well,
such, or-
as you've all heard, George is very shy
yeah.
and, a man of few words.
Mhm.
And when I first started working with him, there were only 5 of us in his office.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, we had lunch together. I had lunch with him and Ben and everything. So I had a really unique introduction to him and his wife at that time, Marcia Lucas.
Right.
So I knew him to be kind, brilliant, like I said, a man of few words, and just really, really good at what he did.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
And at the time of Empire, there was no Skywalker Ranch, Skywalker Sound, all of this. We were literally in 2 storefronts in this small Marin town of San Anselmo. You would never have any idea that this huge movie was being
We had to
worked
answer
on.
the phones with the last 4 digits. Like you
Right.
couldn't say what we did. We couldn't tell UPS where we were or anything. It was
Right.
all clandestine.
But the other thing about George is that he is a huge, huge lover of movies. And he's a lover of the film experience coming to a theater. And, recently in the news, Ted Sarandos was saying, coming to a movie theater and seeing films is just an outdated mode. It has nothing to apply. And come on, look at having this audience here. How more awesome could it be than to sit in this theater, sharing this experience of seeing this great movie on the screen?
On the big screen, yeah.
On the screen.
It's amazing. Yeah, it reminds me of another George that I know. I think it's amazing that we get to watch this. I haven't seen this movie since 1997 because this will be the 1997. I don't know when it came out in the 90s, but 96. Thank you. Thank you, sir. That's amazing. So 96. So I remember seeing it then, and now, all these years later, to be able to sit and watch it is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
So I'm going to just, in terms of how dedicated George is to the movie experience and his audiences. So there's a line that I'm sure everybody in this room knows, which is, "I am your father."
Yeah.
So that line, very few people who were even working on the production knew that line. George wanted people to be able to go to the theater on the opening day and to be totally surprised by this revelation. And so I believe, I may be adding this in, but I believe it was not in the original script, in the script that was handed out to most of the actors.
It wasn't.
So very, very few people actually knew that line. And I happen to be the editor that I was working with. We went down to the mixing stage to put this line into the movie, essentially. And
the final mix.
This was actually even the premix where all of the
right.
dialogue gets put together. And that day, they locked the door to the theater that we're in. They locked the door to the actual room that we were in. They locked the door to the projection booth and closed it off so nobody could actually see the screen. But that's the extent that he went to preserve the experience for people. So
That's
he's
amazing. Yeah.
ultimately a huge fan, loves movies. So
It's amazing to think too, like, a lot of filmmakers now, I feel sometimes they put it in the trailer, right? To sell the movie, where this was a beautifully held secret. It reminds me of Mandalorian with Baby Grogu. Spoilers. It's been a few years. But that same kind of care was taken in the story. And I hope that just continues into other stories, that same kind of like love for making sure that people have an experience, It's so great. What other things, so after Lucasfilm, after Empire Strikes Back, did you guys both continue to work there for a long time, or did you kind of do your own thing after that? Did the jobs come pretty good? Was it a...
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, that was the only show in town.
Yeah.
There were about 5 filmmakers in the area, one or two, John Cordy and Michael Ritchie, smile. And there really wasn't any work. And I, had worked too hard to get this far to wait on tables at that point. I felt trained. I was ready to go. I started at the best place in the world that you could start.
What a great resume,
Yeah.
to have,
So I went down to LA, but everyone was really pissed at me.
Oh, really?
It was
Wow.
awful. I made a lot of enemies.
no.
Well, what Ken is saying about Lucas and a lot of us who were working for him and Coppola at the time, George Lucas and Francis Coppola were really close. And we were told when we worked for one company that whatever, we were brother companies, and whatever they needed, we gave them, and whatever we needed, that, it was real close involvement. And so like Ken was saying, they had withdrawn from Hollywood and, bucked the Hollywood system and the studio system. And one of the things that they did is we weren't in a union. And that was like really a big deal at that time. And all of the people that we worked with that had experience working in LA, because a lot of people came up from LA to work on the movies, both Apocalypse and Empire. They were against LA too, I guess you could say, right? And so the fact that I would go down to LA and work was a betrayal.
Oh, I see. It's too bad.
Yeah.
Too
So
bad.
when I first went down, I started working. I was really lucky to get a job. It did open doors for me. And I was really lucky to get a job in the sound library at MGM Library. That's where I started down in LA. And then slowly, you guys followed me. And then all of a sudden I was getting calls from people who had disowned me. Hey, Joanna, do you know about any work?
Can you give me your email?
Wow, that's amazing. That's cool. And so you continued to work in film, Joanna. I'm kind of bearing the lead here a bit, but you edited the first episode of The Sopranos.
I did.
And you won an Emmy for that.
I did.
Yeah. So
Thanks, guys.
wow. I think she's doing all right. I think you're doing good.
I had a good run.
Yeah. And Ken, your IMDb is one of the longest I've ever seen. You've worked on so many cool things, so many Marvel movies. Is there any favorites of any of that stuff that kind of stands out a little bit, or any movie that you had a little bit different experience or something fun? Or
okay, sadly, the first film I worked on, Apocalypse Now, is probably for me the best film that I worked on.
Oh, interesting.
So it never got
so
better.
Beautiful. It's such a beautiful film.
But I did stay up in the Bay Area, and so I worked for Lucasfilm on and off for close to 40 years, actually, until I retired. So I made the switch over to Skywalker Ranch, and we wound up working on not only Lucasfilm movies, but Spielberg was bringing his movies up there at the time, the Indiana Jones films, and just a wide variety of things. Wow. So I pretty much stayed up there most of my career with a brief stint in LA. But
wow. And now my next question will be, what do you love about Santa Fe, New Mexico? What brought you guys here?
Besides everything?
Well said. Well said. Well said. Yeah. It's a beautiful place. Wow.
Yeah. Actually, my wife, Carlene, and I, she recommended that we move here. We were in the Bay Area, and once I retired, the idea of a Bay Area mortgage just wasn't making it when I was retired. And she recommended Santa Fe. She talked about it when we came out here. And we've been here 7 years now. Oh, nice. And I kid you not, every day of the 7 years, we are so thrilled to be here. We just love it here.
We get a beautiful sunset every single damn day. Really. I mean, we really do. Except for today, maybe. Today's like Palpatine's angry. There's something happening outside. Very Camino. Right, guys? Camino? You got it? I want to thank you guys so much for being here. This means a lot to me. I look forward to talking with you guys more if you're into it. Sure. On more of a personal, we won't invite all these people. But we'll maybe a little bit more intimate. We can talk a little bit more about stuff in a little bit longer form. And I had
like 3 stories. You know?
Oh, tell one. Will you tell one? Yeah. Will you tell one more just right now? Can you tell one for me, please?
We got
time.
Have one.
Okay.
Brent's waiting. He's fine.
He's
great.
Okay.
Please.
Well, you want to tell yours?
Do us a favor.
Tell yours
yes.
first. You want to do the dialogue ones?
Okay.
Okay. It's better to tell yours because mine's better. So tell yours first.
Okay. That's very funny. So we were on Empire. We were doing what's known as ADR, which is replacing lines that either had technical problems or performance problems. And you go down into a film studio which we did down in Los Angeles. And we had, I think most of the day, had recorded Mark Hamill. And at the end of the day, very end of the day, the editor that I was working with, who will show up in Joanna's story, he said, "Oh my goodness, we didn't get this line, this off-screen line for when Han Solo is about to go out into the big snowstorm." And everybody kind of looked around and they pointed at me and said, "Do this line," which is, your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker. And then Han Solo turns and looks and says, "Then I'll see you in hell."
Wow.
So when you see this, watch the movie, look for that line.
Wow, that is amazing. That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. That is...
Okay, Joanna, knock this one out of the park. Go ahead, give it your best shot.
Okay, so when we were doing rough cuts, before you finish the movie, you have rough cut screenings, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that. And Ben Burt and George Lucas recognized that my voice sounded a lot like Carrie Fisher's.
Oh, I can kind of hear that a little bit, yeah.
And at the time, it's 45 years ago. So they used I recorded all of her new lines and all of her stepped-on lines for all the rough cut screenings. Wow. So, and being the dialogue editor, I cut them in myself.
Oh, interesting.
So when we went to actually do the automatic dialogue replacement, you guys know about that, some of you maybe. Yeah. When we went to do it officially down in LA, Carrie Fisher, bless her heart, always wanted to be able to tell her this story, never got to. Oh. Yeah, Carrie, wherever you are. She was in rehab, and we only had her for one day. So we had to get all of her ADR lines that day. No leeway. So once again, Kurt Schulke, we're putting all the blame on Kurt. We get back to Marin County, and I go to cut the lines in, and we're missing a bunch of lines.
Oh, no.
And there's no way that we can get Carrie back to do them. So my voice is still in the movie.
Ah, wow.
Several lines. And you guys, this is actually a really big deal because I was sworn to secrecy. I was never supposed to tell anybody ever.
You heard it here first on the Dorkside Cantina
You
podcast.
are hearing it here first. And I really thought a lot about it today because I've been sworn to secrecy for 45 years.
Wow.
And I never was supposed to tell anybody, but I thought, well, what are they going to do to me now, right?
Wow.
Fortunately, there's no internet, right?
I'm so glad I asked you to tell a story. My gosh, that's another one. That's so great. Yeah, where are the lines?
I said when Han Solo and Carrie and Princess Leia are in the Millennium Falcon and they point out and she says Star Destroyer. That's Star Destroyer.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Yay.
Amazing.
And you can't tell. I bet you can't tell.
Well, Joanna, Ken, thank you so very much. Like, once again, thank you so much for coming. I look forward to talking with you guys again. And thank you. Big round of applause for these guys, guys. Come on. Thank you Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Bud. I think what you do is really terrific. And both of us were like, we just found out about it, and we were like, yeah,
I love it. I love it that you reached out because you reached out to the JCC and said, hey, I was actually working on that thing, and I was like, yeah. And then she's like, there's my friend Ken. He also worked on it, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, more the merrier, please, yes. So
you're a really good soul, and what you're doing is really terrific.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the great work.
So much.
I'd also like to thank everybody who has shown up to this event.
Yes.
This really
round of
means
applause for yourself, everyone.
Absolutely.
Good job. Good job.
Really hope you enjoy the show.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. right, everyone. You ready for my next guest? Right? Yes. My next guest is someone that I've had on the show a few different times. I learned about Brent because I needed guests for the show. I was getting a little dry. I didn't have anybody set up. So I just went into my computer and I Googled Star Wars, New Mexico, right? This is about 2 years ago now, about a year and a half ago. And so I did that. And the first thing that came up was a movie premiere of a local filmmaker who made his own Star Wars movie, right? And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to go to this premiere. This is amazing. And I looked at the day, and it was the day that I Googled it, right? And it started at 7 o'clock, and it was 7:30. And I was in Santa Fe, and it's in Albuquerque. So I was like, well, shit, I'm not going to make that. But I reached out to him and talked to him. I forget what number it was, but we did, I think it was like 23, episode 23 we did. We're on 45, by the way. This is episode 45 we're doing. Yeah, more, please. No, just kidding. But so I reached out, talked to him, amazing soul. He's actually right here, this guy right here, Brent Peterson. Come on over, Brent. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Come on, have a seat. So Brent made his own movie, and he's working on sequels. I wanted to bring that up too before we get going. But Brent, it's good to see you. Look at you. Wow. Yeah.
There we go.
Hey,
Oh,
there
that
we
sounds
go.
better.
Brent Peterson. Hey, Brent.
Hey.
Good to see you again.
How do you follow that last set?
I don't know. I don't even know if we should really.
What did
Just
you do to
roll
me?
credits here. I know. They're great. Aren't
That
they?
was fantastic
Yeah,
to hear
oh,
those
man.
stories about
Yeah.
Empire and
Yeah.
wow,
What's
amazing.
what have you been up to, man? I know you've been
my
working on making
goodness.
more movies.
Making more movies and
Yeah.
screening other films that I've made in film festivals.
Yeah.
Just came away with Best Drama Film for the short that followed my Star Wars fan film at a festival in Oklahoma, and that was a lot of fun. I was out there last weekend, and it's screening right now in other festivals. It's going to be
Cool.
in Portugal next at the end
Wow.
of the month. I won't be making it to Portugal. Oh.
Yes, well,
But
I would love
yeah.
to go. I think it'd be a fun place to go.
Oh,
I think.
me too.
Especially to see
Me
a Star
too.
Wars movie. Be amazing.
Yeah. But I am making 2 sequels.
You are making 2 sequels.
my
What's
Star
the name
Wars-
of your movie? What is it?
It's called Star Wars Rendezvous.
Yeah. We're actually gonna play a trailer right before The Empire Strikes Back coming up very soon. So you get to see the movie trailer for that, and you can get on YouTube and watch it. Right?
It is on YouTube, so you can get on there right. Well, don't do it right now.
Yeah,
but
maybe in a little
as soon
bit.
as the screening's over, go check it out, please. And if you don't know how to spell rendezvous, I bet your phone can do it for you.
There's a V in there, right? A V, right?
Yeah, it's French or something, right? But we're also currently in, because it's done so well, it's played all around the world, in India and Cyprus. Last May the 4th, it screened at a festival in Ireland, right on the coast, off of, just right there by the island. They filmed, what was it? Skellig Island? Is that what it's called? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, Octu? Is that the one?
Yes,
Where Octu
yes.
was. Okay.
For where Luke was hanging out.
throwing
Yeah.
lightsabers over
Yeah,
and
as a
shit.
hermit,
Yeah.
right? Throwing lightsabers behind
Yeah,
him.
like it didn't even
Yeah.
matter. Yeah. Wow. So I do want to bring up one thing, and I have it written down so I don't mess it up. But you are the recent winner of the 2025 George R.R. Martin Screenwriting Competition Grant. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, that's what comes with that. What do you get? What's
It's
the prize for that?
It's a $5,000 grant to
Cool.
develop the feature film that won the award.
Sweet. And what was the screenwriting? What was the screen?
Obviously, I love
Script.
sci-fi, right? And I've always been fascinated by the UFO phenomena. And so I have written an anthology feature film, which would be my writer and directorial debut
Cool.
as a feature film. And it chronicles several paranormal experiences over 400 years. And as people start to question whether these experiences they're having are dangerous or divine.
Interesting. That's cool. How did you get? What made you think that? Hey, I want to make my own Star Wars movie. Like, what was there inspiration? Was there? What was it like? You're like, I'm a filmmaker. I love Star Wars. I'm in the 501st. I want to do my own thing. Where did that all come from?
I've always been a Star Wars fan ever since I was like 4 years old and
Yeah.
saw A New Hope in the theater. And so that dates me, right? But
Right, yeah.
it's been a lifelong love of Star Wars, growing up with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it made me want to become a filmmaker myself, and has influenced my life greatly. But you know, there's a lot of fan films out there, and some really, really well-made ones. And my son passed away from cancer when he was 7 years old. This is about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And he loved Star Wars too. His favorite character was Darth Maul, which inspired me to create the Maul costume.
Wow.
And as part of the 501st Legion that I trooped with. And I knew that I wanted to make a film that he would be proud of and that he would enjoy watching. And so that was the seed.
Wow. That's amazing. That's another reason why you should all watch it, because it's in a beautiful tribute to that, and it's just it's great. I couldn't believe it when I was like, there's a guy in Albuquerque that made his own Star Wars movie. Get the fuck out of here, you know? Sorry, kids. But you know, I was just like, I can't believe it. This is amazing, and the fact that it was so darn good too. I mean, it really is a beautiful story. Can you talk a little bit about just like it's Ahsoka, right? It's her story.
Yes,
and,
yes. So how many of you are fans of the Clone Wars and Rebels, the animated series?
Right.
Fantastic.
There you go.
So I wanted to, I don't want to spoil too much for those of you who haven't seen those, but at the end of Clone Wars, there's some really fantastic things that happen with Maul and Ahsoka Tano.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I wanted to come up with my own story where they meet again and the situation that would entail.
Cool.
And
Very
so
cool.
my
We don't
film
wanna
takes
spoil
place in
it.
between those two series. Right about the time where Andor season 1 is happening,
Interesting.
if you want to place it in the timeline.
That's awesome. We're so over time. I love you though. So we can get on and we can let's talk about the sequels real quick.
Sure.
So you're making 2 sequels to that movie?
Yeah, I've been
right?
asked over and over, like, are you making more? And at first I was like, no, this is the film, right? But
yeah.
the more times I got asked that question, my mind just started
Right.
churning, and I wouldn't make them if some magic didn't happen in there, and they just poured themselves out on the paper, and now it's going to be a trilogy.
Wow, that's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Brent Peterson, thank you so much.
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
you, bud.
I'm just gonna hug everybody as they leave. Thank you, Brent. That is amazing. I can't wait. I'm not in the movie, by the way. He had a scene worth of voiceover, and I was to get my voice, my audition tape, and I didn't get it to him soon enough, and I'm not going to be in the movie. But I'm hoping that there'll be a special thanks to the Dorkside Cantina in the credits, Brent. And also the movie poster for his movie Rendezvous is out in the front, so maybe check that out too. And like I said, QR code, you just go right to it. Wow. Now is the time where we're gonna watch my favorite fucking Star Wars movie ever. Are you ready? Just a few things right here that I wanted to kind of go over. In the last few weeks, I've been asking everyone, because I'm doing this, I'm like, why is Empire the best? And it all comes down to it has everything. It has everything. It doesn't even end on a good note. So, the Empire's striking, right? And the rebellion is losing. But like I was saying to my guests earlier, there's an emotional climax at the end that's beautiful, and it really is what it has heart, and Star Wars always has heart, but it seems to have just a little extra dose in this. Plus, you get some great moments, you get some great battles. Vader be choking in this, just so you know. A lot of admirals dying in this one. A lot of admirals dying. Yeah, production was 7 months, with Hoth being filmed in Finse, Norway, and then the rest being filmed in England. What's some other little notes? Oh, I thought this one was cool. So it was completely financed by George Lucas with the money from A New Hope. And the budget was $30.5 million. And in its initial run, oh wait, that's wrong. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I fucked that up. It was financed at 30.5 million. Oh, it made 30.5 million, which now in times would be $752 million. I thought that was amazing. What else? Oh man, the matte paintings for this. You gotta remember, this is before big time CGI. I mean, this is all practical effects. This is all blue screens. This is all real guys like Phil Tippett, which is an amazing artist. Making these tauntauns move just a little bit by little bit by little bit, stop motion animation. It's just, I can't say enough amazing things about the production of this movie. And Chris, you want to roll the music for me, buddy? We'll get out of here, Chris. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna watch the best movie ever, and I can't wait to share it with you. And I'll just shut up now. But there are just a few things. There's an announcement I'd like to make. On the 4th of July, Return of the Jedi will be right here. So, very excited. And we're going to do this all again. You guys got to listen to me mumble and bumble up here. But we'll have some great guests, and we'll do that again. What are my other things I wanted to say? Oh, we're giving away a bunch of stuff. So there's a costume contest. We're going to be giving that away after the movie in the little room over here. We'll do all that. So if you're in costume and you want to try to maybe win something, swing by. We're also doing a dance party later. And did you guys like the themed drinks, by the way, that John Cocteau did? Isn't that awesome? So good. There's also a Dengar action figure that is probably going to be first place. Pretty cool. And that was donated by Astro Zombies, the comic book store in Albuquerque. So thank you to Chris Losak for that. Yeah, that's really it, you guys. Let's just get to this thing. Oh, let me do these thank yous real fast. Doug Saltzman, I totally forgot you last time. Doug Saltzman does the music. The music you're listening to right now was made by Doug. So thank you, Doug. I want to thank Al LaFleur. Al, right over here. She does a podcast here called Splice and Splatter. You got to check it out. My good friend, Travis Fowler over here, the guy behind the camera there. Amazing. Slice of Santa Fe is his company. He's a production company. I want to thank him. I want to thank the other George R.R. Martin, for making such a beautiful place for us to watch this stuff. And his love for movies in turn goes into us, and we get to watch this stuff. It's amazing. So without further ado, we're going to get a little stuff going here and get things moved. And Empire Strikes Back coming. So thank you guys for coming. So amazing. Thank you so much. May the force be with you always.